The Prime Minister's daughter discovers she is actually the villainess in the book, while her sister is the story's heroine. But she refuses to accept fate, determined to reclaim everything that is hers.
Give back the scars. Return my destiny.
3 months ago, when Yunqi first got the Book of Fate, she didn't believe what it foretold. Instead, she burned it to ashes. But then everything that happened matched the book's predictions exactly. At her father's birthday banquet, she was supposed to get engaged to Prince Chang, but Lu Zheng burst in suddenly, shattering the peaceful atmosphere. The border general was meeting with Prince Chang in private, which was against the law. To cover up the truth, the general lied, saying he was there for Madame Xiang, dragging Yunqi's mother into the scandal. Yunqi wouldn't let them take her mother. She drew her sword to fight back, but Lu Zheng easily subdued her. To prove her innocence, Madame Xiang killed herself right before everyone. At that moment, before Yunqi's eyes, the book's words appeared again. It said her mother died wronged. Her sister slapped Lu Zheng in panic. The ink on the book was still wet. She still had a chance to change the ending. Yunqi slapped Lu Zheng before her sister could, and the story actually shifted. Her mother, who had died, came back to life. When Yunqi looked at the book again, the words had changed, and the next second it became reality. The burned Book of Fate returned to Yunqi's hands. In her dreams, she realized she was a character in a story, and not just any character, but a villainess doomed to a tragic end. Learning her mother would die in a fire, she went to visit her in prison. Lu Zheng tried to stop her again as they struggled with each other. Lu Huai broke the jade bracelet the Empress gave Yunqi. That is a serious crime. Yunqi used this leverage to ask him to release her mother from prison. Of course, Lu Huai refused, grabbed her by the throat.
Please, sir, spare my mother.
Eventually, Lu Huai thought of his own mother and spared her life. Yunqi noticed he wouldn't look at her disheveled state, so she took off her clothes one by one. Lu Huai is an upright man. Just then others approached. Instead, Lu Huai wrapped her in his cloak. Yunqi knelt before him, urging him to prepare for the prison fire. But such heaven-revealing words are automatically blocked by the Book of Fate. She couldn't tell anyone. And that fire was set by the Prime Minister to silence them. The minister's wife knew too much, couldn't be left alive. Yunqi rushed into the fire to save her mother, but she was too weak, could only beg Lu Huai to get her mother out first. She stabbed her palm with a hairpin, forced herself to stay conscious, and crawled out. In the end, Lu Huai still saved Yunqi, sent his subordinate, Jingju, to watch over her. But the Prime Minister sent men again, split into 2 groups to ambush them. Lu Huai and Jingju drew their swords to fight. The Book of Fate appeared again. Mother will die pierced by countless arrows, and the ink is about to dry. Lu Huai and Jingju killed the assassins. Yunqi thought all was well, but her mother was hit by a stray arrow, ultimately couldn't be saved. Yunqi's heart shattered, held a knife to the last assassin's throat, demanding who sent them. Learned it was the Prime Minister's doing. She panicked for a moment, but Lu Huai held her hand, helped her plunge the knife down.
To kill, hold the knife steady.
Yunqi, in her mother's memorial hall, confronting the Prime Minister, ordered to kneel outside the door. Lu Huai actually held an umbrella for her, claimed he could help her get revenge, but Yunqi didn't agree. Fate Book urged her to accept destiny, yet she decided to gamble. After the kneeling punishment ended, Yunqi proactively apologized to the Prime Minister, determined to endure humiliation to complete her revenge. The Fate Book recorded she would drug her sister to ruin her virtue, but she refused to use such means. Defying the Fate Book comes with a price. Though Prince Chang and her sister were in love, Yunqi exposed the truth. In the deep palace, true love doesn't matter. She and Prince Chang could use each other. Of course, neither her sister nor Prince Chang believed her. After Yunqi left, she found herself poisoned by an unknown toxin. In a daze, she fell off the bridge. Luckily, Lu Huai passed by and saved her. But the poison was hard to cure. Required incisions on 2 acupuncture points near the heart to drain blood and save her life. Lu Huai hesitated to proceed. Yunqi took off her clothes and urged him to act.
Gentle, it hurts.
Amid the chaos, Yunqi barely survived. On the way back, she saw someone frozen to death in hot weather. Totally illogical. The Fate Book said in the story it was just plot convenience, only to make her sister meet Lu Huai. 10-year-old Lu Huai lost his mother and ended up on the streets. Her sister saved him as a child. And the next plot was Lu Huai recognizing his savior, then devoting himself to her sister forever. But this storyline, Yunqi was determined to change. Yunqi found Lu Huai, offered to be his pawn, to help him overthrow the Prime Minister. Lu Huai found it bizarre. Everyone fears him, but Yunqi rushes to show kindness.
I, Su Yunqi, dare to be associated with Lord Lo.
She doesn't find Lu Zheng frightening. Instead, she greets him with a smile and offers to bring ointment for the scar on his brow. Lu Huai is also moved by her. In his childhood, his eyes and brows resembled his father, who abandoned his family. To spare his mother's grief, he carved this scar himself. Unexpectedly, Yunqi says he'd be more handsome without this scar. Later, to avoid backlash from the Book of Fate, Yunqi kidnaps her sister as the plot demands, but she herself falls prey to Prince Chang's scheme. Sent to Mingyu Lodge to sell her body, Lu Huai happens to be investigating a case there. He intended to save Yunqi, but his mind is altered by the Book of Fate. Paralyzed, Yunqi struggles and rolls off the bed, throwing a small bottle with all her might. Inside is the ointment for the scar. Lu Huai is again thrown into confusion. Finally, he sees the scar on Yunqi's shoulder, just like that girl from childhood, and he saves her after all. But defying fate, his mind descends into chaos again. The Book of Fate actually forcibly severs his feelings for Yunqi. So Lu Huai returns to his cold demeanor, turning to pursue the suspect. While fighting the suspect, his mind still dwells on Yunqi's plea for help. But when he returns after capturing the criminal, Yunqi has already been violated. Seeing this scene, Lu Huai angrily beats the client, but Yunqi tells him to let it go, for this is her destined fate. She begs Lu Huai to take her in for the night. Lu Huai naturally agrees. After arriving at the Lu residence, Yunqi still wishes to end her life. Her purity destroyed. She'll never be able to hold her head high. But Lu Huai believes the fault lies with this world, not with her. And I would never look down on her because of that.
In my eyes, from beginning to end, you are just Yu Yunqi.
Lu Huai felt guilty for not saving Yunqi in time, and that guilt consumed him. So Yunqi's goal was achieved. Actually, she never lost her chastity. The scar on her shoulder was self-inflicted. All to steal the female leaf's destiny. To make Lu Zhen fall for her. But when the Prime Minister found out, he felt Yunqi had shamed him. So he kicked Yunqi out, instead making the stepsister the legitimate daughter. Yunqi had nowhere to go. She showed up at Lu Huai's place a mess.
I have no. Can you take me in?
Lu Huai let her stay, but he was cold as ice. Told her to leave first thing tomorrow. Turns out Lu Huai knew she was still pure, but couldn't figure her game. The Book of Fate has 28 chapters. Only the last chapter remains. Yunqi must hurry to change the ending. Then the sister, wanting to please the Prime Minister, went to visit Lu Huai's estate. And Yunqi already guessed. The poison was her sister's. The sister showed her true colors. Admitted it was all her. The sisters were done for good. Yunqi had to find out fast what the sister wanted from Lu Huai. Next morning early, someone caused the scene at the estate. Said Lu Huai killed her husband for credit, and called Lu Huai a cursed loner who'll die badly. Lu Huai reacted hard to that. Yunqi asked the butler why. Found out it was Lu Huai's birthday and his mom's death anniversary. The sister, to suck up to Lu, made longevity noodles herself. Yunqi worked all afternoon too, but she was a step late. Didn't let the sister finish. Yunqi dragged Lu Huai away. She gave Lu Huai a blessing plaque as a gift, but because she was in such a hurry, she accidentally picked up a plaque that said, "May you have a child soon." However, the sentiment behind the gift was still good. Lu Huai didn't mind at all. In fact, he reached out to accept it. Lu Huai felt his hands were dirty with blood, but Yunqi didn't think so. She even carefully wiped his palms with her sleeve. She believed Lu Huai wouldn't kill unjustly for personal gain. There must be some misunderstanding. In truth, the person deserved to be executed for their crime. Lu Huai didn't explain the reason, simply because no one wanted to hear it.
Why? I want to hear it. You can tell me later.
Lu Huai's heart softened for a moment, and he agreed to let Yunqi stay in the mansion as a maid. Yunqi learned that Lu Huai was gathering evidence against the Chancellor, so she sneaked into his room to look for clues. But Lu Huai suddenly returned, and she had no choice but to hide in the bathtub. However, she was still discovered by Lu Huai. He quickly covered himself and rushed her out to investigate the meeting point between the Chancellor and Prince Chang, a place called Fuhua Courtyard. Jingju disguised herself as a courtesan to infiltrate it, and Yunqi also disguised herself as a maid without permission to sneak in, providing Jingju with assistance with a small trick. Jingju managed to steal the Chancellor's ledger and asked Yunqi to deliver it to Lu Huai. However, Yunqi drank poisoned wine when she entered, which would take effect in 3 hours. She originally planned to fight the pursuers to the death, but Yunqi couldn't bear to see her die, so she gave her an antidote and told her to leave first. But Yunqi herself ended up in grave danger and almost got violated. Lu Huai was waiting outside for them, and upon receiving Jingju's message, he was about to go save Yunqi, but his sister suddenly appeared, intentionally delaying him. In order not to be controlled by fate, Lu Huai cut himself with a knife, staying alert as he stormed into the courtyard. By the time Lu Huai arrived, Yunqi had already turned the tables and killed the villain. He finally breathed a sigh of relief.
A steady hand for the killing blade.
Yunqi's poison was never fully cured. Now it suddenly flares up again. She collapses into Lu Zhen's arms. The doctor insists she must open her robes in the medicated bath, soaking for 2 full hours to let the medicine work. Lu Huai carries her into the bath. He blindfolds himself on his own, helps her undo her clothes, saving her life once more. After Yunqi wakes up, Lu Huai wants to ask why she approached him, but Yunqi plays dumb on purpose, gulps the medicine down and complains it is bitter. Lu Huai has to pull out a piece of candy. Yunqi takes the candy from his hand with her mouth, throwing him off balance again. He forgets what he meant to ask. Just then her sister comes to visit Yunqi. As the plot goes, she is supposed to get the account book. Yunqi of course won't let her have it. The 2 sisters speak her inside the room. Lu Huai meant to bring Yunqi some candy, but here's his own yard is worse than the minister's. Yunqi gets mocked by her sister for probably with the help of the fate book. Her sister sneaks into Lu Huai's room and actually finds the minister's account book. Thankfully, the accounts are in code. She doesn't recognize it as the target. Yunqi shows up just in time to interrupt, doesn't let her take the book away. Yunqi seizes every chance to please Lu Huai. Now she is brought sweet soup. She made herself. Lu Huai refuses to drink it, so she plays the victim. Says her hands are scalded red from making the soup. Just then an arrow flies in. Luckily Lu Huai reacts quick, shields her in an instant. Then Lu Huai steps out to fight the assassin. Yunqi learns from the original plot. Her sister was meant to take the arrow for Lu Huai, but her sister isn't here now, so Lu Huai would get shot and die. Yunqi rushes out and pushes him aside, only to get hit by a hidden arrow herself. Lu Huai is deeply moved by this. Lu Huai has already fallen for Yunqi, but he was worried he couldn't keep Yunqi. Still he made an effort. He bought everything Yunqi said she wanted, silk quilts and rouge eyebrow pencils, all brought back. Yunqi became much happier, but when she learned her sister was cutting down the Prime Minister's peach blossom tree, she rushed back in a hurry. Her sister now lives in their mother's courtyard, and even wants to cut down their mother's favorite peach tree. She absolutely cannot accept this. But the Prime Minister backed her sister, insisting on cutting down the tree. Yunqi felt this was her karma for being the villain, sitting by the river alone and heartbroken. But Lu Huai didn't think she was a villain. There is no absolute good or evil in this world, as long as you have a clear conscience. Yunqi pushed open the door and discovered Lu Huai had moved the peach tree to the Lu family home. Yunqi was deeply touched. She hugged Lu Huai tightly. This peach tree was planted by her mother when she was born. It holds extraordinary meaning. Yunqi heard him say us. She savored that feeling all evening. But sadly fate had other plans. Her sister would get the account book and give it to the Prime Minister. Her sister's mother's spirit tablet would be placed in the ancestral hall. Yunqi suddenly didn't know what to do. Because not following fate's script, Lu Huai might suffer backlash. Even though she also wanted to be a good person. But she had no choice. In her breakdown, Lu Huai held an umbrella for her in the rain and took her home. This time Yunqi promised Lu Huai he could ask her one question. She would definitely tell the truth. Such a great opportunity. And Lu Huai asked, "How to make you stop crying?" Yunqi didn't expect him to ask that. But the answer was simple. She kissed him. Yunqi tries to run after kissing. Lu Huai stops her again, sealing her lips with another kiss. Before Lu Huai's mother passed away, she left him a jade pendant, telling him to find his father with it. But Lu Huai doesn't care about that scumbag, so he wants to give his mother's only keepsake to Yunqi. Yunqi feels unworthy and refuses it, but Lu Huai directly confesses his feelings to her, wanting to be with her. Yunqi knows he'll face trouble if involved with her, but Lu Huai isn't afraid. Yunqi asks him back, "What if I want your life?" Lu Huai tells her to take it anytime, even gives her a hidden sleeve arrow for protection. Next day Lu Huai wants to eat with Yunqi, but suddenly collapses. The Book of Fate says he was wounded by an assassin. The wound quickly worsens, all because Yunqi altered the plot, making Lu Huai not fall for the sister. So he loses his value as the second male lead. Thankfully this plot line is still fresh. To save Lu Huai, Yunqi has to bring the sister to him, forcing her to feed him medicine, while she steps back, letting them build feelings. Days later, Lu Huai wakes up. The sister is by his side caring for him, but Yunqi takes the account book to the Prime Minister. For this she sets 3 conditions. First, clear her mother's name. Second, reinstate her as the legitimate daughter. Third, guarantee her safety, or she won't hand over the other half of the book, to ensure Lu Huai survives. Yunqi has to do this, but because the account book is lost, Lu Huai is punished by the emperor with 80 strokes. He must within 10 days find evidence against the Prime Minister again, or hell lose his head. Suddenly, Lu Huai notices the emperor's jade pendant looks familiar. Turns out his scumbag father is actually the emperor. The emperor has already arranged for Yunqi to marry Prince Chang after the new year. Jinju advises Lu Huai to give up on her. Lu Huai is covered in injuries, but still refuses to let go. If Yunqi is doing this for the title of princess, then maybe he can do the same. Meanwhile, Yunqi learns that Lu Huai has been beaten, but she can only pretend it doesn't concern her in front of her younger sister, taking advantage of the situation. Her sister showers Lu Huai with care and even brings him medicine for his wounds. She wants to help apply the ointment, but Lu Huai naturally refuses. In their struggle, he unexpectedly notices a scar on his sister's shoulder. After asking, Lu Huai realizes that Yunqi has been lying about this as well. But at this moment, Yunqi secretly sends a bottle of medicine to the Lu Huai can't figure out her intention and sneaks into the Chancellor's mansion to eavesdrop. However, all he hears are Yunqi's seemingly cold and pragmatic words. He believes she truly cares only about fame and status, not knowing that Yunqi secretly cries for him late, hating herself for betraying Lu Huai's sincere feelings. Even more outrageous is the appearance of an old midwife. WHO claims to have delivered the Chancellor's wife years ago. She says the Chancellor's wife gave birth to a stillborn baby, so she took a newborn girl from a brothel, born on the same day as a replacement. Thus Yunqi isn't the Chancellor's biological daughter. Enraged, the Chancellor immediately strips Yunqi of her position as the Chancellor's noble daughter and locks her in the woodshed. This calamity is just a lesson from Pai Mingshi, Book of Fate for Yunqi. But Yunqi mocks the underhanded tactics of Wang Mingshu. In this story, only those of noble birth can earn respect. A woman who loses her purity becomes worthless. How utterly absurd. At this point, the final chapter of Pai Mingshu reveals that Yunqi will push her sister off a cliff, and Lu Huai will shoot Yunqi with an arrow. And now, sister also came to kick Yunqi while she is down, mocking her coldly, even saying Lu Huai gave the jade pendant to her instead. But Yunqi ignored her taunts completely, just wrapped the chains around her neck, taking sister hostage, demanding the Prime Minister unlock her chains and prepare a carriage. Meanwhile, Lu Huai heard Yunqi met with sudden misfortune, immediately intensified interrogating the border general they called, got a confession implicating the Prime Minister. But when he rushed to the Prime Minister's residence, Yunqi had already taken the carriage and fled. Finally, Yunqi helped sister, cornered at the cliff's edge. Lu Huai shot her knife-wielding hand with an arrow, so she quickly switched to holding the child as threat.
Lu Huai, you'd really kill me
Lu
for her.
Huai drew his bow again, but didn't release the arrow. As Yunqi stood there emotional, he suddenly threw down his bow and ran toward both of them. Yunqi still didn't push sister off the cliff. Lu Huai tried to approach her, but she shot him with a hidden sleeve arrow, making him stumble and fall off the cliff.
Sorry. I choose myself.
Now the Book of Fate has changed to Lu Huai pushed off cliff by Su Yunqi. Ink has dried, ending is set. Yunqi ultimately altered her destiny, surviving as the vicious supporting female lead. But after being captured and brought back, she was still locked in the woodshed. Then Jinju came to confront Yunqi, asking why she did. Yunqi's answer was simple. Lu Huai would kill me for sister. She just struck first to survive. But Jinju told her the truth. If Lu Huai really wanted you dead, could you have wounded him? Today Lu Huai rushed to the Prime Minister's residence, used the general's confession to bargain for your safety with the Prime Minister. You never deserved his sacrifices. Jinju thought about killing Yunqi, but couldn't bring himself to do it. Yunqi urged him to search below the cliff again. Maybe She's still alive. Fate mocks Yunqi, because she wouldn't sacrifice everything for the man she loved. She can't be the heroine of a love story, only a supporting character. But Yunqi disagrees.
Why should I sacrifice myself? I am the most important!
She gave up on Lu Huai because Lu Zhen chose her sister. If she were in the peacock fly southeast, Liu Lanji or Zhao Zhongqi, she wouldn't choose death, just to live well. Since she abandoned her love, don't regret it, don't look back. Help others and help yourself too. 3 months later, tomorrow is the day of the wedding between the second Miss and Prince But Yunqi suffered greatly. Her body covered in scars, treated worse than a servant. The minister wants to marry her to a butcher, but she stays silent, even fetches water to wash her sister's feet. This is the very beginning of the story. Yunqi endured humiliation just for this moment to scar her sister's face. She doesn't understand why fate says her sister is the heroine. Her sister took everything that was hers. Yunqi only wants fairness. If fate is unfair to her, then she'll take it herself. Unexpectedly, the creator of fate appeared as a maid. He calls himself the writer. Everyone is his character. Yunqi fought against fate. He found it interesting, so he can give her a chance. Just kill her sister now, and hell make Yunqi the new heroine. The writer raised his hand. Yunqi's scars all disappeared. He urged Yunqi to hurry, but Yunqi stabbed the dagger into the writer. But the screenwriter wasn't surprised. Instead, she smiled and said to Yunqi,
"See you next time."
The prime minister's daughter discovers that she is the villainess in the book, and shockingly she kills the original author directly. She rewrites her own destiny with her own hands, as Yunqi's entire life was ruined by her younger sister, the female. On the eve of her sister's wedding, she finally avenged herself, personally slashing her sister's face. The records in the Book of Fate also changed, and the one destined to marry the prince became Yunqi. However, on the wedding day, the person who lifted her veil was not Prince Chang, but Lu Huai. Yunqi was deeply in love with him, but in order to change her fate, she pushed him off a cliff. Lu Huai has now returned corrupted by darkness, seeking only an explanation from her. But Yunqi cannot reveal the truth. The more entangled she becomes with him, the more dangerous it gets. She can only act cold towards Lu Huai. Seeing her defiance, Lu Huai decides to take her by force, vowing to make her wish for death. Yunqi escapes from the room, only to find that the maids are calling her princess, and Lu Huai is actually Prince. It turns out that Lu Huai, using the jade pendant left by his mother, was posthumously granted the title of prince by the emperor. His only demand was to take Prince Chang's place in marriage. So just now it was Lu Huai who married Yunqi in the ceremony. Prince Chang remains loyal to her sister, but the sister gradually realizes that Prince Chang's love for her is merely an arrangement dictated by the Book of Fate. She slowly begins to feel despair about this. Yunqi hasn't eaten for days, and Lu Zheng even plans to chop off the cook's head. Unable to bear hurting an innocent person, Yunqi can only compromise. Lu Huai becomes even more confused. Yunqi shows compassion for others, so why is she so cruel to him? Yunqi wants to beg him to let her go, but Lu Huai refuses, of course. Instead, he demos Yunqi to become a servant. Yunqi is doing chores. Even the maids are bullying her. Lu Huai sees her hand is cut. He acts indifferent on the surface, but that night he has Yunqi alone attend his bath. Lu Huai asks Yunqi when she pushed him off the cliff, what did she mean by "I choose myself"? Yunqi wants to tell him about the Book of Fate, but revealing heaven's secrets will be blocked. Yunqi can only say screw it. Anyway, I'm just a cold-hearted person. If you're disappointed, then let me go. Lu Huai is completely enraged, pulls Yunqi into the tub, pins her down and kisses her forcefully. After kissing, he kicks her out, unwilling to reveal any real emotion. That night, Yunqi is haunted by nightmares. When she wakes the next day, she finds her hand has been bandaged and medicated. Of course, this is also Lu Huai's doing. That day, Yunqi sneaks out of the palace, bumps into a man in white. The man in white says he's about to go to prison, asks Yunqi to take care of a flower for him. Then Lu Huai immediately arrives with his man, thinks she ran out to meet with a man. Yunqi refuses to go back, so Lu Huai drags her back to the palace. In the struggle, they kiss again. Yunqi notices Lu Huai pulling away. Instead, she 主动抱上去, asks him why he won't continue. Yunqi knows Lu Huai hates her, so if Lu Huai wants her life, she can give it. Lu Huai can't bring himself to do it, just asks her, why won't she? Look back at him. Yunqi hardens her heart, rejects his affection again. But actually, after Lu Huai leaves, she sobs uncontrollably. Lately, Yunqi always looks pale, often encounters strange things, and suddenly thinks. She realizes the Book of Fate has a problem, doesn't want to implicate those around her, just want to escape this place. So she gave Lu Huai the cold shoulder again, saying his feelings for her weren't love, just gratitude. But Lu Huai took her to the peach blossom tree and confessed his feelings once more. Yunqi still couldn't accept his love. Then she saw the Book of Fate again. The ending still hadn't changed. She insisted that Lu Huai was supposed to love her sister, but Lu Huai had kept the hairpin from their first meeting, the one that fell. He was smitten from that moment, so no matter who saved him as a child, it was just a debt of gratitude, nothing more. Besides, his sister took his jade pendant. That debt was repaid. Only then did Yunqi understand Lu Huai truly loved her.
我是Yunqi. I want to be with you forever.
Yunqi hesitated to agree, worried it was another trick by the writer. Passing by the matchmaker temple, she wrote a forever wish and hung it on the tree. The wish tag was blown down by the wind. She thought it was a bad sign, but Lu Huai hung it back up for her. Lu Huai's heart was steadfast. Yunqi began to believe that she and Lu Huai could change their fate and survive. Once they cleared the air, they were inseparable again. Yunqi wanted to see fireflies, so Lu Huai took her to the ethereal valley. Legend says the mountain god there blesses every couple who visits, granting them a lifetime together. But fate had other plans. Before they could see the fireflies, the timeline reset. The story returns to the day she kidnapped her sister. Yunqi was still shot by Lu Huai and fell off the cliff. Lu Huai was no longer Prince Xiu. He has no other feelings for Yunqi either. Locked her up in prison. In prison, Yunqi encountered again that mysterious man in white. But he still remembers Yunqi. The man in white said, in this world everyone is assigned a role. His role is the murderer. While Yunqi is the vicious legitimate daughter, he actually never killed anyone, yet is willing to confess just because.
Because of non-attachment.
Later, Lu Huai and his sister came to the prison. In this timeline, The one Lu Huai loves is the sister, no longer remembers those vows of eternal love with Yunqi. Yunqi found it hard to accept this reality for a moment, almost had an emotional breakdown. Later the Prime Minister wanted to enforce family punishment on Yunqi, but Yunqi directly snatched the whip, drove everyone else out. The writer demands she continue to be the vicious supporting female character, fulfill her original ending. The day after tomorrow, the sister and Prince Chang are getting married. She is to take the sister hostage, then get shot and killed by Lu Huai. Again, even if Yunqi doesn't follow the requirements, things will still happen. Except Lu Huai will die blocking an arrow for the sister, fulfilling his ending as the devoted supporting male character. This means, if Yunqi doesn't die, Lu Huai will die. But Yunqi did not compromise. She found the wish tag on the tree was still there. Took the wish tag to find Lu Huai again, hoping to awaken his memories. Seeing Lu Huai had no reaction, Yunqi pulled out a knife, pointed it at her own neck. This time Lu Huai finally reached out to stop, but still didn't remember the past. At this moment the sister suddenly sneered. Yunqi realized she also has memories, lunged at her. Both sisters fell to the ground at the same time, but Lu Huai only pulled up the sister, completely ignoring Yunqi beside After that Lu Huai found out Yunqi waited outside Lu Mansion's gate. She refused to leave even until she collapsed. Suddenly unfamiliar memories flashed through his mind. These anomalies made him start to care about Yunqi. Yunqi went alone to Ethereal Valley, imagining the older Lu Huai was still by her side. She prayed devoutly to the mountain god, wishing both of them health and happiness, and to grow old together. But when she opened her eyes again, Yunqi was still alone. The Lu Zheng she loved was gone. After returning, Yunqi went to find Lu Huai, hugged him and kissed him without a word. In that instant, Lu Huai remembered many scenes. All these memories were related to Yunqi. He also fell into confusion. Yunqi never believed in fate before, but now she does. Now she doesn't blame Lu Zheng either, because he had no choice. Yunqi felt she shouldn't think about entrusting herself to others. The only one you can rely on is yourself. Lu Huai forgot her, so she could only move forward alone. So Yunqi told the script writer she would follow the script's plot tomorrow to assassinate her sister. Before that, Yunqi wanted to visit the man in white again. He had been executed yesterday, but left a letter for Yunqi. From love arises worry, from love arises fear. If detached from love, there is no worry. On the eve of the wedding, Yunqi went to congratulate her sister. Her sister also retained the original memories. She thought accepting fate wasn't so bad. She had won everything. Yunqi was just her defeated rival, but Yunqi knew that love didn't come from sincerity. She just hoped that after the script's ending, her sister would never regret. On the wedding day, Yunqi took her sister hostage. Prince Chang will take his sister's place as the hostage. She knows the male lead is very important to the scriptwriter, so she wants to force the scriptwriter to show up this way. But then the Chancellor appears. He is the scriptwriter. The sister orders Prince Chang's men to kill the Chancellor, because if the scriptwriter hadn't shown up, she wouldn't have realized it was all a lie.
You really don't listen.
But the scriptwriter just moves his fingers and knocks all the guards back. He orders Lu Huai to kill Yunqi, but at the critical moment, Lu Huai shoots the arrow at the scriptwriter. It turns out the night before the wedding, Lu Huai went to find Yunqi based on fragmented memories. Even though he forgot a lot, he still keeps his promise to protect her for life. But this arrow can't hurt the scriptwriter. He pulls out the arrow and takes control of Lu Huai's actions again. Lu Huai forces the arrow to miss, then stabs the knife into his own chest. He would rather kill himself than hurt Yunqi. Yunqi is completely devastated now. She doesn't want to follow the plot anymore. She doesn't care about anything now. The scriptwriter can't control her anymore.
I'm free.
She stabs the dagger into her heart to gain true freedom. When she wakes up again, Yunqi is wearing a red dress, thinking it was all a dream. In this world, the sister no longer exists. She becomes the female lead marrying prince. When she looks in the mirror, the original Yunqi keeps begging for help, telling her it's all the scriptwriter's trap. Both Yunqis think the other is in a dream, and they are the real one. But dream or reality is just a thought away. The red-dressed Yunqi tells her if she admits this world is real, she can get everything back. Mother will be revived. She will also become the princess. In a dazed Yunqi, Lu Huai's voice echoed in her mind. Remembering the words Lu Huai had said to her, she finally understood. What she was searching for was not these worldly possessions, but herself.
I may not truly know, but you must be real.
The red-clad Yunqi represented all her desires, and after Yunqi's awakening, she finally shattered the mirror, personally killing her other self. With that strike, Yunqi regained her senses. The scriptwriter is actually an embodiment of mortal desires. The more she desired something, the more she would be controlled. So when the written person no longer clings, the scriptwriter could do nothing to her. The scriptwriter's desire is to control this story, and Yunqi is his worst ending. Upon hearing this, Yunqi actually became the new scriptwriter. With this pen, she could dominate everyone's fate. Yet Yunqi destroyed the pen because she didn't want to control others' lives. Everyone is their own scriptwriter. When Yunqi woke again, she had returned to the birthday banquet where she first met Lu Huai. This time she retained all her memories, so she immediately exposed the secret of the Prime Minister's collusion with Prince Chang, successfully saving her mother's life. After breaking free from the Book of Fate's control, everyone became vivid and real. And her sister actually had memories too, though they still didn't see eye to eye. It was no longer a life or death struggle. 3 months later, Prince Chang still fell in love with her sister, and Yunqi finally waited for Lu Huai to regain his memories.
My lady, I've been waiting for you.
The two finally reunited. Everyone had their own perfect ending. That is all for the explanation. It is completely finished now. If you want to watch more exciting dramas, don't forget to like and follow me.